Imagine a time when every human on Earth could fit inside a single football stadium, one disaster away from disappearing forever. Today, more than 8 billion people call Earth home. But our ancestors once came terrifyingly close to extinction. To understand what happened, we must travel nearly 900,000 years into the past. The world looked familiar, yet it was far more dangerous than anything humans know today. These weren't modern humans yet, but our ancient ancestors struggling to survive every single day. Then nature began changing faster than anyone could adapt. Temperatures swung wildly as massive ice ages reshaped the planet. In many regions, rain simply stopped falling, rivers vanished, and life began to disappear. Food became scarce. Every hunt turned into a fight between life and death. Humans weren't the only hunters. They were also prey. Year after year, fewer children survived, and entire families disappeared forever. Small tribes became even smaller until survivors were separated by hundreds of kilometers. Recent genetic research suggests the breeding population may have fallen to only around 1,200 individuals. Alone, survival was almost impossible. Cooperation became humanity's greatest weapon. Fire provided warmth, protection from predators, cooked food, and perhaps even hope. For thousands of years, humanity remained dangerously close to vanishing forever. But somehow, against impossible odds, these survivors changed the future of our entire species. The survivors faced a brutal reality. Every meal, every child, and every day could determine humanity's future. Water was precious. Survivors had to follow shrinking rivers and remember every remaining source. A hidden water hole could mean survival. Finding one could mean another generation lived. When hunting failed, roots, seeds, fruits, insects, and wild plants became essential sources of food. Sometimes days passed without a successful hunt, leaving the entire group dangerously weak. Survival increasingly depended on cooperation, rather than strength alone. A successful meal was shared, because one person's survival strengthened the entire group. Children were the future, but keeping them alive in such a harsh world was incredibly difficult. For these survivors, darkness did not mean rest. It meant another test of survival. Hunger was not the only danger. Disease could also devastate a population already reduced to small numbers. Survival depended on knowledge, knowing which plants healed, which foods were dangerous, and where water remained. Every generation had to learn what the previous one had discovered, or risk losing knowledge forever. A simple stone tool could turn wood, plants, hides, and food into resources the group could actually use. And fire gave humans something extraordinary: warmth, protection, light, and a safer way to process food. Cooking could make difficult foods easier to digest, helping humans extract more value from their environment. If these groups were truly small, every additional loss could have had consequences for the entire population. When populations shrink dramatically, their DNA can preserve clues about that ancient loss of diversity. Scientists call this pattern a genetic bottleneck, a population collapse that can leave a lasting signature in our DNA. Inside that narrow genetic corridor, countless ancestral lines had been reduced to only a fraction of their former diversity. Modern genomes preserve clues about population history, revealing periods when ancestral populations became unusually small. But scientists still debate exactly when these bottlenecks happened and how severe they truly were. Whatever its exact scale, the survivors eventually expanded. their descendants spreading into new environments. Eventually, some human populations moved beyond Africa, carrying only a small piece of humanity's ancient genetic story. As humans spread, they encountered other human populations, and sometimes exchanged genes with them. Those ancient encounters left genetic traces that can still be detected in people living today. From vulnerable ancestral populations came billions of descendants, spreading across almost every environment on Earth. Every person alive today carries part of that ancient story, the legacy of people who survived when their future was uncertain. Once we were few, scared, terrified by the nature, trying to survive, it was in our genome. Humanity came close to losing its future, but the survivors endured, and their story lives on in all of us.